Okay, what if I told you the real secret to getting amazing results wasn't about doing more, but about doing way, way less? Today, we're going to dig into this really powerful idea that helps you put through all the noise by focusing on just one single thing at a time.
Does this feel a little too familiar? Your phone is just constantly buzzing, your email inbox is a disaster, and you're trying to juggle like a dozen things all at once. You feel busy, sure, but at the end of the day, do you ever feel like you haven't actually made any real progress on the stuff that matters? Yeah, if that sounds like your life, you are definitely not alone.
And that leads us right into what the book calls the productivity trap. It's this idea that we've all kind of bought into that being busy and overwhelmed is somehow the same thing as being productive. But as we're about to see, it's usually the complete opposite.
I mean, it starts from the second you wake up, right? You've got push notifications from a million different apps. Emails are pinging. Social media is screaming for your attention. And every single one is just another little paper cut to your focus, pulling you in all these different directions until your attention is just gone.
So what do? We try to fight the chaos by doing everything at once. We tell ourselves we're being super efficient by answering emails during a meeting or checking messages while writing a report. But what's really happening? We're just splitting our focus, and the quality of everything we do just takes a nosedive.
And the to-do list. You know the one I'm talking about. It's less of a plan and more of a brain dump of every single thing we think we should be doing. It just becomes this huge source of stress where every tiny task feels just as important as the big ones, making it impossible to see the thing that'll actually move the needle.
There's this great old proverb that just nails this idea. When you divide your energy, you end up with nothing. See, the big insight here isn't that you have to work harder. It's that extraordinary results come from focusing your energy and doing one thing, but doing it exceptionally well. So how do we get out of this trap? Well, the book gives us this amazing mental model to fight back against the chaos, the domino effect. It's this simple but profound idea that success isn't built all at once. It's built sequentially. You just line up the single most important thing and knock it over. And that makes knocking over the next thing so much easier.
Okay, and get this. This is where it gets really cool. The physics behind this is fascinating. A single, ordinary domino has enough power to knock over another one that's 50% bigger. This means the progress isn't just 1 + 1 + 1. It's geometric. The power doesn't just add up, it actually multiplies.
To really wrap your head around just how insane this is, look at this. If you start with a tiny 2-inch domino, by the time you get to the 23rd domino in the chain, it would be big enough to topple the Eiffel Tower. The 31st would be taller than Mount Everest, and the 57th domino, it would literally create a bridge from the Earth to the Moon. That's the kind of power we're talking about when we say, find your first domino.
All right, so the domino effect is incredible, but how do you find that all-important first domino? Well, first we've got to do some myth-busting. We have to clear out some of these popular productivity lies that are keeping us stuck being busy instead of being effective.
Lie number one, and it's a big one: multitasking. We all think we're so good at it, right? But it's a total myth. Our brains physically cannot focus on two complex things at the same time. We're just switching back and forth really, really fast. And all that switching leads to shallow, error-prone work. But when you focus on one single thing, you get that deep focus, you build momentum, and the quality of your work goes through the roof. And the cost of all this switching? It is huge. I mean, look at this. Research shows that we lose about 28% of our workday just to multitasking and all the distractions that come with it. Think about that for a second. That's like throwing away more than a full day of work every single week.
Okay, the second big lie we tell ourselves is that our willpower is this infinite resource we can just turn on whenever we want. But the truth is, willpower is much more like your phone's battery. You start the day at 100%, and every single decision you make, big or small, it just drains that battery, little by little.
There is this fantastic study at Stanford that shows this in action. They had two groups. One had a really easy task, memorize 2 digits. The other group had a much harder one, memorize 7 digits. Afterwards, they were offered a snack. In the group that had used up more mental energy, they were twice as likely to choose the cake over the healthy snack. So what's the lesson here? Do your most important work, your one thing, first thing in the morning when that battery is fully charged. Okay, so we stop multitasking, we protect our willpower. But that leaves one huge question. How in the world do we figure out what that single most important thing is? Well, for that, the book gives us this incredibly simple but really profound tool. It's called the focusing question. It's not just any question, it's specifically designed to cut through all the clutter and force you to find that one action that will have the biggest impact, the action that kicks off that whole domino chain. It's basically your compass for finding the lead domino. And here it is. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Let that sink in for a second. This question isn't just about what's next. It's about leverage. The right one thing doesn't just get a task done. It literally clears the path for everything that follows. Now here's how you make this question super practical. This isn't just about figuring out your one thing for today. It's about connecting your biggest, wildest, most ambitious goals all the way down to the single action you need to take right now, in this moment. You actually start at the end with your big someday goal. Then you work your way backward, asking the focusing question at every step. Okay, based on that someday goal, what's the one thing I need to do in the next 5 years? Then, based on my 5-year goal, what's my one thing for this year? You just keep drilling down until you have absolute crystal clarity on the single most important thing you need to do right now.
So let's boil this all down. First, stop confusing being busy with being productive. They're not the same thing. Second, remember that huge success is built one step at a time, just like dominoes. Third, multitasking is a lie, so protect your willpower. And finally, use that focusing question to connect your biggest dreams to your very next action.
So I'm going to leave you with that question. Based on your biggest goal, your highest ambition, what is the one domino that you need to line up and knock over right now? The one thing that will make everything else easier, or maybe even unnecessary. You find that one thing, and I promise you, you are on your way to something truly extraordinary.